there been any conversations with the Election Commission on linking voter ID cards with the Aadhaar, which was a proposal in 2015?
See, prior to Aadhaar Act, when the Aadhaar Act was not there, Election Commission had initiated an exercise to link voter ID card with Aadhaar number,
yeah.
right? But even in August 2015, when the Supreme Court prohibited the use of Aadhaar, or rather restricted the use of Aadhaar only to few programs,
yeah.
then Election Commission suspended that activity. Now that this law has been passed, this judgment has come.
Yeah.
Now, as per this judgment, Election Commission has to take a call. Again, here again, I would say that, see, so far the UIDAI is concerned, UIDAI will open its authentication service to any agency only if there is a backing of law, because backing of law is a...
No, but the current judgment will not permit the Election Commission to force the UIDAI to mandatorily link voter ID cards
unless
to the Aadhaar card.
Unless
the law is amended.
That's correct.
So the current provision doesn't allow for that.
That's correct.
So has there been a request that's been made by the Election Commission? Has there been any consultation between the Election Commission and the UIDAI on this matter?
Election Commission did about 2 weeks back, they had a meeting with us. They wanted to understand the Supreme Court orders, right? And then what exactly is our views. So we presented this view that this is what the judgment of the Supreme Court is, and the Supreme Court judgment is, and if ever this Aadhaar authentication is to be used, so far as the linking of voter ID with Aadhaar number is concerned, there this the law will be required. However, just like the people can use their physical Aadhaar card or electronic Aadhaar card or offline verification on a voluntary basis, just like anyone else can use it, Election Commission can also use it, so that the voters, for example, today, if you want to, register as a voter somewhere, now you have two options. Either you go to the electoral registration office or you go and apply online. When you go and apply online, how do you prove your identity? That is where this offline verification or electronic Aadhaar can become very, very useful.
Yeah, but it can ask you for other documentation as well. I mean, it can ask you for your passport or other documents as well.
But again, I said that in India, if the 60 crore people have only Aadhaar, then if you only say that if you take passport and not physical Aadhaar.
No, so you've given us two clarifications. One, the fact that the law will have to be amended if the Election Commission were to link mandatorily voter IDs to the Aadhaar Act. Why has the Election Commission come to you 2 weeks ago? With what was the specific ask that the Election Commission came to you 2 weeks ago?
Basically, they wanted to understand the order. They wanted to understand, and then what is our plan. For example, in that meeting, we did discuss this offline verification, because these are the options which are available. So, as a part of my activity, I must make aware, everybody in the ecosystem who are likely to be users of Aadhaar. Just like I reached out to the fintech company, I reached out to the bank, I reached out to the telecom companies.
Did you take up the issue with them of reports that suggest that several million, 2.2 million, for instance, in Telangana, was struck off the voters list ostensibly because of the Aadhaar linkage issue?
I don't think, I'm not concerned about, their operational details. Our role comes, if supposing some agency, whether it is the Election Commission of India or, bank or fintech company or the telecom company or some other agency, if they want to use Aadhaar, our endeavor is always that I must, tell them that this is the method where you can use it on a voluntary basis without impinging the privacy. And if you want to do it mandatorily, this is what the law will be required, and that law also has to be proportionate, and law must be framed in such a manner that it should promote a legitimate.
What is your sense? Is the Election Commission thinking of a law?
No, I don't think, because it would be premature for us to make a comment that what exactly they are thinking, because they are commission, they are, a constitutional body, so they will take an appropriate decision. But, these various other options on the voluntary basis, these things were discussed.
No, but is this accurate, the fact that millions of voters were struck off the list ostensibly because of the Aadhaar linkage issue? Has this been verified by the UIDAI or the Election Commission in your conversations with the Election Commission?
No, again, you should see the difference. If let us say, I wouldn't be privy to that knowledge. Let's say, if any addition or deletion happens on the basis of Aadhaar, it is only the Election Commission would know, because you see, in case of an UIDAI, we operate on the basis of, three fundamental principles which, we also presented to the Supreme Court. That is the minimal data optimal ignorance. Once, let us say, we only say whether the Aadhaar number is matching with the fingerprint or not.
Yeah.
What happens after that? Whether somebody is given a voter ID card or somebody is and some other actions are being taken.
Okay.
That we are not privy to the knowledge, and in fact, we shouldn't get into that detail because see, you must be before the Supreme Court judgment. The people were saying that UIDAI knows too much, right? I have your bank details, I have your telecom details, call details, everything. But then we could prove to the Supreme Court saying that Aadhaar Act specifically prevent us from knowing any profiling about you. So how will I know whether a particular voter has been deleted or not?
It held very clearly. The judgment said that it wasn't the charge of this amounting to a surveillance state didn't hold. But since we're talking about use cases, we just talked about the Election Commission and the voter list. The HRD ministry has also asked for a student database for 240 million students to be built. As per the website, it says that it's looking to link the students using the Aadhaar number. Now, in light of what the Supreme Court has said, which basically says that an exit option should be given to children if their parents were okay with enrolling them into the Aadhaar program, but they should have the exit option at the time of when they turn 18, essentially. Is this a good idea? I mean, a program like this?
No. In fact, the Supreme Court has very clearly said that so far as the minor is concerned, minor can be enrolled for Aadhaar only if there is a parental consent. Right.
Yeah.
Now, when the child attains majority, then the child should be given an option to exit from the plan.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we have already initiated the process to develop a software system to enforce this, and this will happen. This will happen within, again, the next few weeks. We will come out with a whole plan that if a child has been enrolled as a child, and once the child attains the age of 18, that time we will give an option, and then in that particular case, he can exit from the Aadhaar system. But the Supreme Court has also said a very important thing, that there are many welfare programs. Now, in the welfare programs, again, because so far as the other welfare programs are concerned, there you can make Aadhaar mandatory, right? But in this particular case, Supreme Court has said because it is a child, and in that case, if you are giving some welfare benefits, there, it should not be made mandatory. So accordingly,
So have you advised the HRD ministry, as you have advised the Election Commission, that that they should rethink or review the manner in which they're going about this?
See, what we have done is that, the Supreme Court order is known to everyone, number one. But we have also taken up with the various ministries and saying that, because there are many things, where how they are doing their own operations and how they are using the Aadhaar, it will be impossible for us to know, right? One department, because let's say in some state government, some department, how it is using Aadhaar, definitely we wouldn't know unless until somebody complains or somebody, maybe, people like you tell us that, this is what is happening, and then accordingly we will advise them. But then the fact remains that the Supreme Court order is very, very clear that Aadhaar cannot be made mandatory for the children.
If someone, you made that clear that it cannot be made mandatory for children, but if someone continues to be not compliant with the Supreme Court order, what then? What penalties, if any, what is it that you're going to do?
I must say that it is a Supreme Court judgment of a 5-judge constitutional bench, and that has to be respected by everyone. And I don't think that, in any government system, somebody will, violate this order. And if anyone does or dare do that, it will be amount to contempt of court, which, we all are aware that, what consequences it entails.
Well, Mr. Pandey, always a pleasure. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18 with some important clarifications about the road ahead and a status report on Aadhaar post the Supreme Court judgment. With that, it is time for us to wrap up the CNBC TV 18 special. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.
Thank you.